The Sydney regional qualifier just wrapped up, and I think everybody's complaining about the wrong deck. Aurora's ruining the format. Aurora everywhere. But is Aurora really the boogeyman? So let's take a look at this data. The Aurora archetype is about 13% of day 2. And we can learn a lot from the rest of this data, right? Aurelia, 21 players, 11% of day 2 by itself. And she was dominant the last set too. So why is no one talking about something that's been a problem? So let's take a look at what actually happened in Sydney. So Aurora's getting all the attention because it's new. I understand it's big and it's flashy, right? But Aurelia's been dominating. She's been surviving meta shift to meta shift. And I think that's the definition of like a format staple, right? But everybody's screaming about Aurora. Aurora is the new shiny thing everybody's panicking about. But Aurora's been the problem the entire time. 27% conversion rate for Aurelia players to day 2. That's 1 in every 4 Aurelia players made day 2 in Sydney. That's consistency, right? Compare that to Aurora. You know, Fiora is at 4%, Silver's at 5%, Poppy is at 4%. You know, it's like 13% across 3 legends, but not all of them are playing Aurora either. Aurelia's 11% alone. Aurelia's tricky, right? She wants to have these crazy turns, ganking from one battlefield to the other, and like having their units come in ready. And that's why I think that if you want to beat this public enemy number 1, I think Vex is the play. You know, Vex seems built to beat this strategy. Vex Apathetic really shuts down the most explosive turns by preventing the units from moving the turn they enter. That's a huge part of Aurelia's and like a lot of other aggressive decks' game plan. And here's something else interesting that nobody's talking about. Master Yi. Starting at 75 players, that's 6% of day 1, which was less than Aurelia's 78 players, ended at 24 players. That's 12% of day 2's players. More than Aurelia. That's a 32% day 2 conversion rate. That's the highest in the entire format. Aurelia's at 27%, Vex is at 20%, Aurora decks probably around, 13, 14%. Master Yi, 32%. So he's less popular than Aurelia, but he's converting better. And all these Master Yi decks, they're more of a mid-range focus, and they aren't even playing Aurora, even though they could. Just quietly putting up the best numbers in the tournament, getting slept on. And Aurora is putting up some results, right? 13% of day 2, one of them making the top 8. That's solid, but that's not format warping, like people are complaining about, in my opinion. And here's why I think it's overblown. One, it's recency bias. It's new. People haven't learned how to play against it yet. There's a lot of Reddit echo chamber stuff saying Aurora is broken. And 2, it's high variance. And high variance creates really memorable losses, right? So when Aurora curves out, it's very powerful. People remember those games where they, get Elder Dragoned on turn 5. Like, that's very memorable. But they don't remember the games where Aurora bricked off and lost on turn 6. Or whenever you walk away from a best of 3 against an orange deck and they never play it, and you're thinking, I wonder why they aren't playing Aurora. But they are. They just never drew it. Never got to the point where they could play it. And then 3, I think the meta has adapted, right? The tournament players are running the right answers. It's easy to interact with out of the sideboard. And then 4th, it's like not consistent. It's difficult to get off the ground, and you need a lot of things to go right. Now, does this mean it's safe from getting banned? Also, no. There's a good chance that Aurora could prevent certain cards in orange from being designed at the top end by game designers. And if a card is warping the design space too much, that's a good reason to get rid of it too. So what should we take away from Sydney? I think if you're preparing for tournaments and you're obsessing over Aurora, I think you're preparing for the new hotness, right? But Aurelia is the proven boogeyman you actually need to beat. Not Aurora. Aurelia, 27% conversion. This is the day 2 boss fight, in my opinion. And second, don't sleep on Master Yi, right? Less popular than Aurelia, but it's converting better, so you're going to run into it. If you're not testing this matchup, you're leaving your wins on the table. Third is Aurelia is good, but it's not broken, right? If you learn the matchup, you run the right answers, and you respect it in your sideboard, you'll probably win that matchup. And fourth, if you're on Vex, I think you're well positioned. I think you're good against Aurelia. I think you're good against Aurora. And I think you're just good against the field. 20% conversion is very competitive, and it's one of the newer legends, right? So it will take a little bit to really show what it's worth. And fifth, I think the meta is actually healthy right now, right? There's 6 different legends across the top 8. Multiple strategies are viable, and there's room to brew and innovate. But real talk, if you're going to tournaments, I think your test is Aurelia. That's the boogeyman, has been for sets now. Sydney proved it. Vex is strong, Roar's overhyped, Yi is good, but Aurelia is the boogeyman. What do you think? Is Aurelia the real boogeyman? Let me know.